Hello, everyone, and we live here with the book launch. It's August 1st, 2024. We are planning to launch the book today, but we were trying to figure out what's the best way to do it to make sure it's appear on Amazon earlier. Apparently, we did everything right, so it appeared on Amazon on July 24, and we made a decision to change the plans and release the book before August 1st. So the book is being live for 4 or 5 days, hit number of bestseller list in, Richard, which categories?
All categories.
All categories.
Work balance in life, work balance in business.
And you also customer success in sales.
Success in sales, and you also are moving towards number one in motivational. And that is also in the US as well.
Very good.
US and Canada. You're absolutely right. So this is probably a good time to explain who you guys are. So I'm Evgeniy. If you don't know me and you stumble on this channel right now, or you're going to see this video later on, I'm the author of the book. Oh my God, why must that call me right now? It's not very appropriate time. I'm author of the book that's being released just right now, Architecture of Success, Soft Skills in Technical Sales. Richard is my editor. Terry is the amazing person that I met not even a year ago that introduced me to Richard. So Terry, maybe quick words about yourself.
Sure. I'm what's called an ethical hacker. So I started my career in cybersecurity in 2005, but I've been in IT for way longer than that. So armed with that knowledge of how hackers are getting in, I've been putting out a lot of content around how to protect yourself online for the individual as well as business owners. And now I'm a go-to person for most media outlets across Canada. So every time there's a data breach, I get on CTV, Global News, whatever. My book was also an Amazon bestseller. So it released in 2020. It's still on the Amazon bestseller list today. And what else? Won a bunch of industry awards. It's like global. Just won the Life Safety Alliance Global Thought Leaders Top 40. So it's tip of the iceberg, my friend.
Nice. Richard?
Oh, well, Terry's my hero, and so are you. Congratulations on your book. My name is Richard Tardif. As you see, I'm I guess I'm still a journalist. I've been a journalist all my life. You never stop being a journalist. I mean, after 25 years of that, I decided to be on my own. I have my own publishing company called Smiling Eyes Press, and I'm also do all the editing. And I have to say, it was a pleasure writing this book. I'm also an author. I've done several of my own books.
This is your icon here on the back of the book.
And that's a pretty good-looking picture of you too. That's the book, yeah.
I should mention that Rich and I have been working together since 2008. So, in full transparency, Richard's my, we'll say, ghostwriter / advisor when it comes to writing. So he makes sure my writing looks good in print.
Not just yours, mine as well. Apparently now.
Yeah, he's very strict on how things get pushed out, for sure.
And he has actually soft skills, because I will tell him, we have to do that, and he says, and they're like, how about you do that? It's like, okay, fine.
Secretly in his mind, he's not saying soft stuff. He's saying bad stuff to us, but yeah, I get it.
So back to the idea, back about the book. If you don't have the book, here is the book. Here's how it looks like. We spent a lot of time on the cover. Thank you, Dachna and her team that did the cover. It was amazing work. As everything great, it was a lot of frustration in the beginning, and then it moved to the upper heel and became just amazing, and everybody loved it, and I loved it. That it's very, very important. And
maybe you can share your experience of how you went from the book idea to how you thought you were going to do it before you met Richard, and maybe share that experience of how that worked.
I will. Just for people that it's looked familiar to them, this is some of the background we use at Security Architecture Podcast with Dimitri together. So this is why maybe for some people the background is a bit familiar. But the book. So first of all, I'm an architect by trade. I've been in cyber for 20 years, and I spent a lot of time working with vendors, and I spent a lot of time working with customers. What I realized as a technical person and the salesperson in a technical salesperson as well, that different people present themselves differently. And when I started in 2006 here in Canada, there was like 5 products we sold, like firewall, an antivirus, email security. So it was relatively easier for the salesperson to know what he's doing and what they're selling. And the engineer will basically show up, and do the demo and let the salesperson to do all the smoothing and the soft skills and connection. Right now, we have more than 150 categories in cyber. And again, not just cyber, many other things. So stuff changed. What I see is the sales engineer is doing more selling. They have to be much more active. They need to more connecting. It's become very complex. We have clouds, we have complexity, we have containers, we have a lot of different things that goes in mind and features. In the same time, the procurement become very, very hard as well. As I mentioned in the book, like 15 years ago, we could just write an email to someone and show up tomorrow to do the work. Right now, we need an MSA, an NDA, an SOW, and many other documents to write and agree before you even going and doing the work. So the salesperson became like a procurement guru. They still need to connect, they still need to do the work, but they need to really understand how the customer is buying. In some cases, back in my previous company, Herjeway Group, we needed 18 signatures to just make one deal. So very, very hard. And what I saw is that in many cases as well, as a sales engineer, we can influence the sales. We can help the salesperson to do a better job and not just do the demo and forget about it. So it made me think what I've been doing when I was in Herjeway Group, how I was helping the sales team to sell, how I was helping the sales team to qualify and to understand what's happening. I also saw many vendors comes in and basically saying, oh, hi, let me show you my demo. Oh, hi, let me show my presentation. And very seldomly, a vendor team will ask the customer, what's the best way to do it? Do you want me to show you the demo? Do you want me to show you the PowerPoint? Do you want to talk about architecture? And in many cases, the mature team on the customer side will actually tell them how they want to see it. Of course, it depends if it's just the first time they're talking about the solution as the second meeting, but they still need an understanding from a sales team to see what's the customer want and not just showing the amazing presentation of the demo. This is what initially triggered me to write a book about how sales engineering has changed. And I started to kind of write a proposal about it and figure out what I can do about it, talk to people, pitch them my idea. They told me it's great, it's nice. But also in the same time, I kind of wasn't sure how I can fill 250 pages because I maybe had 3 or 4 chapters in my mind. So I created a proposal, talked to people, submitted to different publications, got pretty much nothing. And I was spending like 6 months to refine my proposal and think about it and not writing anything. Then I met you, pitched you, and Go Secure, our friends, Julian there in Montreal, and pitched you the idea. I actually don't know what I pitched you, but maybe it's something similar to what I'm talking about right now. Do you remember by any chance?
I do, yeah. Well, because as soon as you mentioned you're writing a book, I started asking you, so how are you doing this? You mentioned you're going to self-publish it and all these things. And I kind of stopped you right there saying, look, I was trying to go the same route. In fact, I'll share my experience when I was writing my book. I did not want to write a book. I'm like, why? Because all my stuff was video based, right? And I can go to market much faster with videos. I'm like, why am I going to write a book when it's going to be obsolete by the time it hits the shelf? And, and the way I was doing my stuff was my content was written for video. It wasn't written for book. So Richard had to go in there and revamp everything to make it more print friendly. But it took several months and various rereads to do this. And when I see people or hear people that want to do self-publishing, I'm like, look, Richard advised me of this. You got to attribute properly. If you don't do any of that stuff, you can get in trouble for it. There's a lot of pitfalls when you're writing a book. So, and especially if you want to be on the Amazon bestseller, it has to be structured versus just like putting some stuff together via Chat GPT and throw it to the wind and then you're good, right? It's not going to work. So I don't know, Richard, you want to bring more into this?
Yeah, I think one of the objectives of someone writing a book, the first step is write the book. Write the book. All that comes after, we'll worry about later. Because what comes after won't come after if you don't have the book. Kind of a reverse sort of thing. Sit down, follow your passion, have your idea, write the book. Then come to me.
So for me, it was half, because I came to you with the proposal and you look on the proposal and you told me you don't accept everyone. I remember this correctly. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And then you came back to me in a week. It's like, I think there is stuff there. I think you're on something. I don't remember exactly. But
Yeah,
do you remember what's going in your mind?
I remember what that was. An architect talking about soft skills, blueprints and details and everything. This is the world of the architecture. You're talking about soft skills now, and technical skills, and sales engineers, and connecting the cell. So I was able, through what I was reading, put those pieces together, that puzzle together to see that, okay, so there is something here. And that's where I came to the conclusion. Then we talked. I got to know you a little bit better. And I said, send me your stuff. And we read some more. And then we said, we can go with this because there's really something here. Let's also talk about the market of today and where you are. You were talking so much about remote working and Zoom. How we went, this is an interesting point in your book, how you went from maybe 4 to 5 sales calls a day, where you had an hour to drive from sales call to sales call. Now you're doing 16 video calls a day, where you're maybe going to the kitchen sink to get a quick bite to eat, and now you're having it. So you need to have a different approach to, you don't have that hour to chill out in the car. We all know our car can help us relax. But here you are here, and I'm saying, okay, soft skill will boost. Soft skills will give you that. And I said, okay, we have to go with it. And from there, we developed it. And we had many discussions, and we didn't have disagreements. That's what a good editor does. It's not just about the characters in the book, or it's not just about the words. Of course, it's about grammar and structure. But we have to work together. And I think that's where you and me were able to click, because if we didn't click, we might not be here today. So we connected very well through soft skills, not to mention. And what happened was slowly. And then we set a launch date, and then we got more excited, and then we started to work. But it was really good, your idea. So if you have an idea, that's the beginning right there.
And I know for myself, as part of my Cyber Inspiration podcast, a different podcast I host, I started to cover authors and their idea about the books. So everybody approached it differently. Some people just allocate time and write on the weekend. Some people are sporadic when they have time. Some people just going chapter by chapter. For me, it was when I have time, but I needed the quiet. I needed the night, that nobody disturbs me, that I don't have any calls, I don't have any things that I have to do. And during the writing process, I realized I'm kind of describing the journey I did for myself, what helped me to connect to people better, what I did with myself, what I learned during creating the podcast, what I learned using the video. Right now, I use a teleprompter, so I look right into you. I have a microphone here. There are several screens around me. I did the voice trainings and went in there. Because I did a lot of consulting, we spoke a lot with my consulting friends about how you ask questions, not about which car you like, blue or red. Please describe me the best car for you. So now you're getting much more information from the people. There's a lot of small nuances, and the hooks, of course, because the hooks came from Dale Carnegie and the entire idea how to connect to people. There's many different pillars, as I call it, of the bridge, and every chapter is a pillar that make your bridge higher, or the building blocks, another way to describe it, that help you to connect to people as well. And especially during Zoom, because there are so many different screens, there's so much problem with focus. How do you know what you're telling to the person is something they want to hear? Like right now, I'm looking to the camera, but what if my camera was here? You're going to talk to the right side of my ear. So for me, I'll still see you, but you just see the side of my ear. Or for example, back to the book, what if I have a notepad here and I'm writing here on the side on my notes? If you had a physical meeting, you will see that I'm writing notes on the side. But during a Zoom call, Teams call, Google call, you will see me going here all the time, and you won't understand what's happening. Maybe I'm eating spaghetti or eating something else, but I'm not. I'm just writing notes. So I learn for myself. I'll tell the other person on the other side, hey, by the way, you'll see me going to the right. I'm just writing notes, or I'm doing something else. Or today, I'm not really feeling well, I'm not going to be on video. People that know me know that I like to be on video, and I actually pick on people to be on video, because in a real meeting, there's no way going to be, I'll come to your office and I'm not going to see you. If you're sick, I understand. Having said this, sometimes you come to the call and we're not feeling well, so we will just say to the person, hey, excuse me, today I'm not feeling very well, we'll do something else. Because there is different ideas. So I started to spread this into the book and bring other chapters that completely was not included in the beginning. And slowly it went from sales engineering to sales teams, or anyone pretty much on the industry that wants to connect and do it better. Half of the book is applicable to anyone in the industry, in my mind, like not just cyber, SaaS as well.
What I found interesting is our debate we had possibly for a full month on the chapter on burnout.
2 chapters in the beginning. It was the
two chapters in the beginning of 6,000 words. I think the chapter now ended up somewhere around 1,600. But that was a question of why would burnout be part of a soft skills book? So not only would a reader ask that question, you as an author and me as an editor have to ask that question before we say this chapter is worth it. And we had so much information that we had to bring down. And we asked people what they thought. I asked some of my proofreaders what they thought of that.
I actually did a lot of research on this chapter to figure out what, if it's inapplicable, and why we're having there as well.
Oh yeah, we needed to figure it out, because I love the chapter. I love the idea of it. In the beginning, I thought maybe this is another book you could write. From there, I needed to find out, had to connect. So what is burnout? What does it relate to soft skills and your book? Well, as you said at a meeting we had in Montreal the other day, someone was looking at your book. They asked you that question, what was burnout? And you explained it. You explained it perfectly. If you're not at your best, you're not going to get the best sales. You're not going to be able to perform. Bingo. Now we just have to refine the chapter and make it read. And that's the process of working with an editor. If you're self-publishing on your own, and I will never discourage anyone who wants to go it alone, but we all have the expertise to do this. It's a little bit late when your book is on Amazon to have that question being asked. What burnout have to do with the book? So we went with that. And this is something, even a speaking skills section, elevate your skills. I've been speaking for a long time, and Terry and I have worked on speaking. How is it relate to soft skill? Well, just the fact that we have filler words, this, so this can distract your client from the sale process. It can be really distracting. Remember the part about Doug, squirrel. You get distracted with this. So it was a vital chapter to have. And your history, of course, in there, where you went for voice training, you learned that why would you want to lose your accent? It's part of your personality, and that's your soft skills that everyone will remember you by. So this is the process of editing that I love. I'm fond of making sure the words are correct and the sentence structure is there, but the interaction and the why are we actually writing this always has to be forefront.
Yeah. Also, I think I have to mention that, Terry, you wrote the foreword for the book. This is why you're actually here, not just because you're an amazing person. So
and charming, good looking.
Yes, and amazing cybersecurity as well. Just tell us about this process.
Yeah, so I felt it was so needed because I experienced that journey myself. So I come from the technical world. I used to work for Novell. So those of you that are as old as I am, you've heard of Novell, NetWare. Back in the day, it was a highly technical field. But when you go and talk to people who are not technical, you start talking all technobabble to them. They lose you. They have no idea what you're talking about. They just move on. So a complex mind never says yes. A confused mind, I should say. So once I learned how to remove the complexity during my discussions and make it simple for them to understand, make some analogies, my life really propelled based on that. So that's why I felt it was very, very needed to bridge the technical to the non-technical.
So you bring an important point. That is, I think, one of the issues we have in soft skills right now. We have amazingly bright and smart people in the industry, girls, boys, like a lot of smart people. And in many cases, it's hard for them to take what it's out of here. And it took me some time as well to do it. And sometimes I struggle as well. It happened to explain in a simple language or in a business language why we need it, what we need to do with it. And in some cases, not make it very long, not make it very technical, make it simple to explain why we doing this particular feature or why we're working on why do we need to do particular step. And there is a way to do it, as you mentioned, make it simple, make an analogy, explain the metaphor of the house if you're talking about cybersecurity or defense, for example, or something else.
Yeah, exactly. Like perfect example. I get asked the question all the time. Well, I'm doing vulnerability scanning, but do I really need a penetration test? What's the difference? Well, going back to the analogy of the house, the vulnerability scanner will tell you that the door is unlocked, but the penetration test will actually open the door, show you what's inside, take it, and show you how we did it, so you can help protect yourself.
It's a good analogy.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Versus, yeah, we're gonna do some SQL injection here with some packet analysis.
Now you're going very technical. No, stop. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna lose it right now. So by the way, people, the book is completely not technical. It's not. There's a lot of cyber examples in the book, but everything in the book is for anyone. It's applicable to people in SaaS, in HR, and manager, in teams, not just sales, engineering, many people as well. And I think it's also a good time because somebody's just asked me, now, thank you, is there going to be a workshop? We plan quite a lot. And first of all, we're going to reveal a website today about the book, where we have stories, blogs, and upcoming training as well. So maybe just if you can put a website here, and now I'll also see if I can share my screen to show the website. I have no idea how to do it right now, of course. Here.
Dum, dum, dum.
And here is it, softskillstech.ca and .com. You can see the website. There's quite several things here. One part that came in the middle of the book creation, originally it called cheat sheet, but we changed the name, thank you, Neil, to SSDP, Soft Skills Development Plan. And this is basically your plan how to improve your soft skills in the next 30, 60, 90, 120 days. There's a copy of it in the book, in the end, in the appendices. We're going to have another one here. It's going to be a bit bigger than the original one. I'm working right now on this. So if you want one that's going to expand it, please put the information here. There's going to be a training later on and the workshops here as well. Again, not possible to do everything. So even so, we're very, very agile. We still need time to create parts. Oh, we'll do it there. Another important part, so didn't even mention yet, as part of the writing of the book, I interview many individuals, and I wanted to interview people I worked with, not just celebrities, people that actually worked with them for many, many years. So I interviewed about 8 people. Michael Bramall was there, David Ghosh, Dimitri Reitman, Jack Hanningham, Sean Higgins, Juliana, Ira Goldstein, Effie Liebsman, and I'm probably forgetting someone, I hope not. And all the interviews will be eventually published right now. If you go on the website, in the end of the website, I'm not doing it correctly. Yeah, here we go. There are 3 interviews right now that are up. One with Dimitri, one with Ira, and one with Juliana. All people that I used to work are still working right now. And also in the bottom of the website, there are going to be a different podcast where I'm speaking about the book. Interesting one. This is a good one. 2 interesting individuals here as well. So quite a lot of stuff happening here in the book, and there's some kind word about me. And also there's a bit of testimonials in the bottom of the page from people. I had 20 beta readers that I'm very grateful to them because each one of you submitted and provided a lot of feedback. We're actually going to be doing a Zoom call probably end of August with the beta readers to share their experience and what they like and didn't like. They don't know about it yet, but they know about it right now, I guess. So visit the website, see what's happening. There's going to be a blog there as well. Very, very soon, we're going to put some articles. We're going to do quizzes as well to help you with soft skills and training as well. I'm going to stop sharing and we'll talk a bit more.
I think one of the The interesting part of the book is your plan in the back, the soft skills development plan in the back of the book that we put in there. This was something when I first looked at it, I said, this is excellent. Not only do we tell a non-technical story, but many analogies and a lot of your experience as well. We offer you something in the back, how you can develop soft skills development plan for yourself. And it goes up to 120 days with reflection questions after each point. I found this to be something that I would use in my business. It's something I would actually give the book to someone and say, you should look in the back of the book and this could probably help your company. I was really happy to see that go in the back of the book because we just didn't end out with the conclusion and then about the author and acknowledgments. We offered something extra. And I hope that extra helps everyone.
And there's also it shows the evolution of, back in the day, the salesperson was only in charge of sales. The SC was only doing SC. You needed both people to show up to the meeting to kind of complement each other all the time. But now you're seeing this role blended. So I feel it becomes even easier if you've got a technical background and you're able to distill it and you're able to story tell to a customer that solves their problem and their pain. You're on the road to win for sure.
And I want to add to what you're saying, because you mentioned about storytelling. One of the parts that we're really missing is the idea that everybody learned differently. Everybody consumed the information differently. It was what I was saying. Ask the customer sometimes, how do they want to get the information? But some people are visual, some people are audio, some are kinesthetic. So it's a bit of a problem if you don't understand. And we don't know about the person. We cannot know how they are because we don't know the people. That's why we need to maybe ask them in some cases. And also we can do a research to understand a bit more about the person as well.
Well, the other thing too, so this also addresses in the book, the media training. If you can play with your voice, whether they hear you or they see you, if you're just talking to them on the phone, if you can play with your voice tone, make it engaging for them. So it's like, when you're smiling into the phone, they're going to feel or see that smile as well. You're going to make it more, you want to become what's called the attractive character. They want to be the trusted advisor. They come to you, bounce ideas off you. You help them solve their problem, and people buy from people they like and trust in the end.
Yes. And as it says in the book, who are usually record themselves if you don't have a podcast and listen to themselves to analyze the voice. And the same way as you're going to a chiropractor, you can go to a voice person that help you to understand what you can do with the voice. I know I learned a lot about myself during this process as well.
Yep. And I get that question all the time. It's like, how did Terry, it's easy for you to say that you've been doing that 15 years, but I had to start somewhere. If I pull up my interviews, my first big TV interview was with Todd Vanderhayden on CTV. So before going on air for the first time, I had to get prepared. I'd never done it before. So when I look back and see that interview versus what I'm doing today, it's like night and day. It's like I cringe when I see that version. So there's an evolution, of course. So.
Yep. I definitely agree about this part. People that are watching us right now, if you have any questions, please ask questions. Please visit the website. Please go on Amazon, buy the book. If you don't have the links, that's probably on my profile. If not, we can put them here as well.
And going back to your point also about the book, if you're able to master the soft skill of bridging the two, you want to put out a lot of content. You want to build a personal brand. So that's going to be really important. So you want to be the go-to person. You want to be the person that's thought of top of mind all the time. So, they may not need your service today, but maybe in 6 months from now, a cybersecurity incident occurs. Oh yeah, it's Evgeniy or Terry or somebody else. You want to be top of mind all the time.
Yeah, and it's not easy because there's a lot of noise. I mean, not noise. There's a lot of people that's writing. So it totally makes sense that a lot of people are going to write there and do stuff. And it's hard sometimes to stand out, but we have to continue to doing this because it's important.
Correct.
Yeah, I learned a great deal from being the editor of your book. There was, obviously I cannot detach myself when I'm editing a book, and we learn about so much. I learned that there's more than just a salesperson up front. Not only is there a sales engineer, there's other people in the background. So it's not just one thing. I also learned that if I could be made part of that as a customer, if I could be made part of that team and feel like the family, it'd be a lot easier to, well, two things will happen. One, you'll connect to sell more. And the second reason is I'm coming back because
Yep.
I had such a wonderful time. There was a great analogy you had early in your book when you talked about meeting someone and you noticed in the background that they like sailing.
Yes.
Can you let us know about that? Because I thought that was my first chapter where, wow, okay, so look what this gentleman did with soft skills.
Yeah, definitely. He was meeting with the hero, Joshua the hero, and we were supposed to talk about business. And the moment he comes on screen, I had some ideas what I want to talk about. It. I see on the right side of him a sailboat, and now just can I ask you a question? It's like yes, and I just came back from a sailing trip as well myself. Like, what's up with the sailboat? He just light up and just tell me this is his boat. He got it. He's in sailing. He's in racing. He just won a couple of weeks ago a solo race for 24 hours. And we didn't even talk about business. We kind of in the middle of the conversation agree that we're not going to do business right now. We're going to continue to talk about sailing. And then I'll come back in a few weeks. We'll go for a sail trip, like basically in Toronto area. And then we'll talk about business. And this happened. We went 2 weeks after and just basically was sailing for a couple of hours and talking about business. So completely changed the dynamic of the conversation.
Yes, and that reminds me of the first time I met Terry. It was way back in 2008. And what happened was I was a journalist in the community just doing a presentation at, and it was late at night and I wanted to go home. I had actually worked all day and I'm supposed to be the senior journalist on the team. I should not be going out at 8 o'clock at night. So I begrudgingly went. Sat down and there's this guy, Terry, talking about how to protect your kids online. And I remember the words he used. And I remember when I finally talked to him, I said, this article is going to be easy because you made me feel like I should be on the internet backing up and checking my things. It wasn't as new as the internet because I was just happy to have email at the time. From there, but I learned so much. And I think that's what drew me into that presentation.
Do you remember your catchphrase on that after when you did the testimonial for the course?
I don't remember. Tell me.
It was the one where, if you're not going to let your kids drive without a license or without a course, why are you going to do that? Why are you going to let your kids go on the internet without an internet safety course?
Oh yes, that was my lead. That almost won an award. I remember that. But the whole idea was it wasn't a hard presentation. It was a soft presentation. And the crowd was decent enough that I know you went back a second time. And they're going back a lot for the information, but a lot for the personality.
I remember when I first started out, 2 people show up, 10 people show up. Now I'm presenting in front of 2,500. So you got to keep at it. You can't be discouraged. You just keep going. You never know who's gonna.
Baby steps, building blocks.
Yeah, because one person can tell somebody else, and next thing you know, they bring 4 people, and they bring 4 people, and I remember the internet safety talks for the kids, especially. The parents just wanted to go home and unplug their computers. It's like, I can't deal with this stuff. This is crazy what these kids are doing online. So it's like you can only educate them. You can't tell them, no, you can't do this. Just educate them with the dangers.
I think what's great about your book also is you put quite a bit of your experience in the book, as well as your analogies as a photographer. I thought that gave the book a personal touch, and it went deeper more into your experience of why you're writing this book. You had a great analogy when you compared race car driving, what you learned from photography. Perhaps you can share that with us.
Yes, there was a chapter about the burnout when I described that in cars, we do maintenance all the time and we do proactive maintenance. We don't really wait until everything's go down and then we fix the cars. And this is the way if we want to be present, because the burnout chapter is how to be present all the time and not kind of half day into the meeting say, okay, I cannot do it anymore because I'm exhausted. So the same idea here. You want proactively take care of your body. You want proactively take care of your mind to do whatever you want to do. It's some things in the book, something many people, of course, need to do sports in my mind to help them to be there and sleep well and eat well. to basically make sure your body, same as the car, optimally running, and you check your body and you take care of your body, not when it's break down, but you're doing it all the time, constantly.
One of the chapters too I found really, really interesting was overcoming your fear.
This is not something that we teach us in school. It's not something we teach us when we're going to work. Just tell, hey, go do that part. I'm like, but I'm scared, I remember, Terry, you mentioned about when you start to present it. When I started to present, excuse my French, I'll go to the washroom because I'll be so scared. And then my hands will be all wet. And I will be afraid to basically come and shake somebody's hands because I was so scared.
It still happens to me today.
Depend on the size of the crowd,
I've had it done in front of 10 people. My hands still get. But I think the trick there is if you get there early enough, you get to mingle with the audience first. Ask them questions. What do you want to get out of this presentation? Like, chit chat. So it calms your nerves. And once you get on stage, it feels like you're in front of family and friends. So
or you're reading the chapter about fear and you learn how to do box breathing.
That's it.
And you know how to calm yourself, or you're doing some other exercise that is there as well. And you need to understand it's just part of your mind and it's all good. And it means that your mind cares about it. Doesn't mean you're also scared. Even so, we know public speaking is like 85% of people have it. I forgot the name right now, how we call it. Richard, what's the cover for the speaking phobia?
Glossophobia.
Thank you very much. This is why I have you here, because you remember all the smart words.
I remember going on stage one time. This is when I was presenting in front of 2,500 people. There was a speaker that came on maybe 4 or 5 slots before me. Came up on stage and blanked out for 40 seconds. That scared the living daylights out of me. I'm like, this can never happen to me. This cannot happen. I'd be so prepared. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I felt so bad for that person. Oof.
Yeah, you have to deal with that. I did a contest speech many years ago, and I was rehearsing before the speech. I had won the first 2 contests, so I was going to a larger level. So you go around and you practice where you can. You think I know this stuff so well. And I get up there, and then I stand there, and I can't get that opening thing. I can't get it. So I make something up. After someone said, I really like how you kept us in suspense at the beginning. I said, thank you. But that's not what happened. I could not get my line. And I figured I was going 20 seconds without saying anything. I better just say something. And from there, the fear of that public speaking part went away, because I had already went through the worst thing that could happen to me, forgetting my first 20 seconds. And I got up with it. And the thing is, no one knows. No one even knows if you made a mistake except you or your speaking coach. But that's okay, because everyone's going to go up.
And I think in the greater scheme, people understand you can make mistakes, because you're not perfect. We're not Hollywood stars. And if you acknowledge you made a mistake, and you smile and wave. And actually, somebody told me about this 15 years ago. And like, what are you talking about? It's not possible. And then apparently 10 years after, I figure out, yes, you can just smile and say, oh, I forgot the slide. Oh, let me go back. Oh, I completely messed up this part. And it's totally human. It's totally fine.
I think one thing you got to do too is you got to be really prepared for the unexplained. I'll give you an example. So let's say I've had situations where somebody else was controlling my slides for me, but then all of a sudden the video played, but there was no sound. The internet wasn't working, so some of the demos didn't work. So over time, I'm like, you know what? I need to remove all this instability and pre-record some of that content into the PowerPoint, so everything is controlled in the PowerPoint. So I don't need your internet access. I don't care if it goes down. I don't need your sound, because it's going to be built right into the slide. Everything's all prepared for me. So you need to really prepare for the for like any catastrophes that could happen.
It's a funny thing. Sometimes this happens when we're online. It can happen where you will forget something, and you think you have a way out by closing your screen, which you don't want to do that with the customer.
No.
And you're coming back, but you don't, and you can't go here or take off here. You're there just as you would be face to face, and yet you have all these other things going on around you. You have 4 or 5 other different people in the room, maybe more, 2 or 3 customers from the same company at the same time, sales engineers, yourself, other salespeople, the CEO. it's a pressure cooker sometimes as well. That chapter really meant to me a lot to that book, as to other chapters. Because if you can't speak it, you can't sell it.
Yes, 100%. Okay, we've been talking for 40 minutes. I think it's enough to explain the book for now.
Richard talks a lot. Jesus.
Yes, we do want to talk about something that I know Richard and Terry, you guys working on. So we're gonna give you a shout out for the next book you're working on. Purely for me to do a book.
Another book.
Not me, you. It's way too early for me to do another book.
I mean, I get asked all the time. It's like, Terry, when's the next book coming out? I'm like, oh my God, another one. I remember how much stress I went through writing the first one. But Richard, maybe want to let the cat out of the bag?
Yeah, so we'll let the cat out of the bag. This is a book called The Future of Cybersecurity. It will actually be a perspectives of people in cybersecurity today. It'll be a co-authored book. So we're going to talk about the future of cybersecurity. And I can believe it's going to be heavy on machine learning, quantum computing, and AI technology in the future. We find it's important to do a co-authored book because as we move in the future, we may be coming to that crossroad. We have to decide how we're going to handle the future of cybersecurity, because we see posts every day. We learn about news that, holy cow, they can actually shut down the grid like this. And now AI is causing many problems, but it's also a tool to prevent cybersecurity. So we want to invite as many co-authors as we possibly can. A chapter of between 1,500 to 2,000 words. I know a lot can be said about cybersecurity and issues with more words, but we have to limit it down. We're looking for 15 to 20 co-authors to contribute to the book. And you will work just as Terry and you have worked with Smiling Eyes Press, my company. You will work directly with me and Terry, and you'll contribute the story. And we'll take it from there, because right now it is something Terry and I have thought about for more than a year now. And I think we're coming around to a point where I think we need to let the public know that what's going to be the future of cybersecurity, because people are confused. I mean, Terry has an app called Fraudster right now, business and consumers. There's so many people that are confused about, what am I going to do? What do we do? How do we protect? And some of the future is still with the employee level as well. You click on a link of your boss who you don't want to upset, and it still goes back to what Terry taught me in 2010. Yeah, we want to be helpful as people. We don't want to hurt people. We want to help people move along. We want to trust. But now we have this issue of, I can't click. Yeah. Just one idea for the future of cybersecurity. So we'll be sending out emails and launching it real soon. And we have information for anyone who wants to contact. If anyone wants to contact me, my contact was in my bio, and we can get started on that. And any questions, of course, you can reach me at Smiling Eyes Press.
We actually both learned write a blog. Sorry, Terry. I plan to write a blog about my personal experience writing a book, what I learned, not about the book, what I'm learning in writing the book. So kind of my notes that hope will help other people as well in the future.
One of the analogies I love to tell Richard is that writing a book is really easy, but writing a book that doesn't suck is very, very hard. That's why, Richard, like right now you're on, what's your track record now? Is almost every book an Amazon bestseller?
Just about every book is the #1 Amazon bestseller, and they stay in the bestseller list for a very long time.
Yeah, well, 4 years, mine's still on the bestseller list, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, it is good to be on that bestseller list. It's good to stay there as well. But really, behind those books is a voice.
Yeah,
it's a voice of importance. It's a voice that's reaching out and saying, "This is what's going on. This is something you need to know about. Here's why. Here's why it's structured. Here's why it's going to be good to you. This is what you can do, and here's how I can help." So you get a bestseller, yes, through sales, through algorithms, through choosing the proper category. But if I haven't found your voice, that might not be the case in there. So people do say this, well, is bestseller really a bestseller compared to 10 years ago in New York Times, bestseller? Yes, it is a thing, because it's your voice that gets you there. It's your subject, it's your matter, it's your topic. You can be the greatest writer in the world. You can be
Awesome.
but you've got to have your voice and style.
Richard, thank you very much. Thank you. Terry, thank you very much as well. We'll do
Okay.
more live shows, and it's a very exciting moment for me today.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. Well done. Hard work.
Mm-hmm.
Say that, right? Hard work pays off. Well, yeah, it does.
Hope so. Hope so. Everybody that's joining today, thank you very much. It's going to be posted on my LinkedIn and posted on my YouTube as well. So appreciate all your help. Thank you.
Take care.